Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new series that we're doing. These are low production quality fight picks. We've got UFC Fight Night Ulberg versus Reyes on next weekend on the 27th of September. Hopefully, by the time this goes up, should be on the horizon. Let's get straight into our picks. The first fight on the card is Brando Pericic versus Alicia Ellison. Brando Pericic being the taller fighter with a wrestling base, fighting out of City Kickboxing. He's got very clean striking compared to his opponent. This will be a pretty good matchup. Both are finishers, but we are running with Pericic. He's the hometown boy from South Australia, but he has moved over to City Kickboxing. Brando Pericic is the taller fighter with a wrestling base, fighting out of City Kickboxing. He's 6'5" versus Alicia Ellison's 6 foot. He's got quite good striking compared to his opponent. Both are finishers, and this will be no doubt an exciting fight. The next fight on the card is Michelle Montague versus Luana Carolina. This fight was a bit of a tricky one to pick. I've gone with Luana Carolina because she has very dangerous submissions. All 6 of her pro wins coming by submission, all in varying points of the fight. Most of them coming early. She has 3 first-round subs, 2 second-round subs, and 1 third-round sub. She is 35. Her opponent is younger, 32, in Luana Carolina. Most of her wins coming by decision. She's got Michelle Montague is quite a bit of a unit. If you've seen any of her fights, she's quite a physically strong fighter and tends to out physicality most of her opponents. So this will be an interesting one. But I'm leaning towards Michelle Montague. Next up on the card, we have Jamie Malarkey versus Rolando Bedoya. Both fighters quite tall for the weight class. Malarkey is 6 foot, Bedoya is 5'11". Malarkey being the more experienced of the two, he's had more fights against higher quality opposition. Bedoya has a higher output in his fights, but both are on a bit of a skid. And I believe that Malarkey is going to be able to snap his losing streak, and hopefully he can go out there and get the win. Next up on the card, we have Colby Thicknessy versus Josias Musasa. I've picked Colby Thicknessy for this fight. Musasa's quite a strong fighter. This won't be an easy fight, but I think that Thicknessy will be able to edge it. He's coming out of Volk's training camp. He's a very well-rounded fighter. Musasa tends to struggle once it hits the ground, so I'm thinking I believe that Thicknessy might be able to get some of his grappling going and be able to control the fight there. Next up on the card, we have Cam Rouston versus Andre Petrosky. Cam Rouston has just come off that win on the Contender Series. He called to fight on the Perth card. Dana White was very happy to oblige. He's also fighting out of City Kickboxing. Very, very well-rounded fighter. He's got very good grappling. Most of his wins have come by sub so far. But it'll be interesting to see how he goes against Andre Petrosky. He's a little bit more, he's been in the UFC a bit longer. Bit shorter than Rouston, but has a very grindy, gritty style. So hopefully Rouston can go out there and get the win. He has a higher output strikes. The UFC stats page has him at 3.2 per minute, and Petrosky is a little bit behind him at 2.8. Similar accuracy, doesn't absorb quite as many strikes as Petrosky, so we will see how this plays out. Next up, we have Jonathan McAuliffe versus Oban Elliott. Oban Elliott started to become a bit of a fan favorite. He's got a very, very tough style, likes to go in there and have a scrap, but I believe McAuliffe's sort of simple, effective striking might be able to edge him the win on this. McAuliffe has a higher striking output. He's got a very simple style of striking, very strong body kicks. If he's able to sort of beat up the midsection of Elliott, we'll probably see the fight start to turn his way. I'm a little concerned in the grappling department, but we'll have to see how this plays out. Next up, we have Loma Lukbanmi versus Alexia Thainara. Loma's got a very exciting style. She's fighting out of Thailand. Very nice striking, aggressive, likes to put quite a bit of damage on her opponents. But I believe Alexia Thainara's grappling is going to help her get the edge in this fight. Very, very high takedown accuracy. 100% of her takedowns have hit. and she attempts a lot of subs per fight. Ainara's last win coming over Molly McCann. We'll see how this fight goes, but I think she'll probably be able to outgrapple her opponent. Next up, we have Navajo Sterling versus Rodolfo Bellato. Navajo is quite a big guy. Bellato tending to struggle against guys that are taller than him. Just came off of a no contest against Paul Craig. Had a draw against Jimmy Crute before that, so I'm thinking that Navajo Sterling will be able to keep his sort of win streak going, put the pressure on his opponent. We saw his last fight; he got that late finish against Urslan, so I have to see if Navajo Sterling's high output and powerful shots will be able to break Bellato as the fight goes on. Next up, we have Justin Tafa versus Louis Sutherland. I have gone with Louis Sutherland for this fight. He's very patient, and once he finds the finish, he's able to drop his opponents and sit on him, put quite a bit of grappling pressure on his opponent. Tafa doesn't tend to really grapple, just kind of tries to stand and bang, so we will see how we go here. Tafa does have an insane amount of power, but he will be the shorter fighter in this fight. And I mean, you can see from this picture here, Louis Sutherland's huge. So I have a feeling he might be able to just sort of keep that pressure going. We'll have to see how both fighters' cardios go in the later rounds. Either we'll see an early finish, or this fight might become like a 3-round sort of plot along fight. Next up, Tom Nolan versus Charlie Campbell. I've picked Tom Nolan in this fight. He's got quite a bit of a height advantage. The reach is fairly even. Charlie Campbell being 6 foot, Tom Nolan being 6'3". Tom Nolan's reach being 73 inches versus Charlie Campbell's 72. I think that Nolan's sort of southpaw style might give Campbell some problems. We've seen Nolan's height and reach be a problem for a lot of other opponents, but the height discrepancy isn't that or the reach discrepancy rather isn't that massive here. This fight could go either way, but we are riding with the Aussie fighter in Tom Nolan. Next up, we have Jake Matthews versus Neil Magny. Now, if Jake Matthews can get past Neil Magny, we see a lot of welterweights after winning against Neil Magny that they end up on quite a bit of a streak. Jake Matthews is already on a bit of a win streak at the moment, and I'm expecting him to be able to keep the ball rolling. Neil Magny is quite tall with a bit of a reach advantage, but I think Jake Matthews will be able to put the pressure on him, possibly take him down and finish him in the later rounds. It is worth noting that Jake Matthews' current 3-fight win streak is against quite tough opposition, so if he can keep this ball rolling against Neil Magny, he'll probably be on his way towards a higher position in the rankings. Next up, we have Jimmy Crute versus Ivan Ursan. Ivan Ursan just having lost to Navajo Sterling and Ion Kutalaba in his last 2 fights. Jimmy Crute coming off a win against Prachnio. Currently, Crute does have almost double the striking output of Ivan Ursan. He's more accurate, absorbs less damage, and has stronger grappling. So we could see maybe a sub coming from Jimmy Crute, or just him breaking Ursan over the course of the fight. Next up, we have Jack Jenkins versus Ramon Tavares. Now, I believe Jenkins was meant to fight Tavares earlier on, possibly last year, before he ended up fighting Herbert Burns. So this matchup's come a little bit later than was initially planned. Jenkins has incredible striking and will be able to possibly drop Ramon Tavares a couple times throughout the fight. He's seen the kind of damage that Jenkins can do to his opponents with leg kicks, the striking, clean body shots, great head movement, and he's ready to go out there and come home with a win against Ramon Tavares. Now, next up on the card, before I put this graphic together, we had less fights on the card, but right now we've got Junior Tafa versus Ibo Azan as the co-main event. I've gone with Junior Tafa, but I could see this fight going either way. Tafa having an elite kickboxing background, Ibo Azan being a great striker as well. This could very much go either way, but since Tafa is the Aussie boy, we're going to ride with him. But again, yeah, this is quite a close fight, and it could go either way. And finally, the main event, Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes has struggled in the past against power punchers, seems to get dropped at points in the fight where he gets caught off balance or moving a little bit funny against a guy that, like Carlos Ulberg, who has, quite a significant amount of reach, hits quite hard, very, very clean striking. I think this will be a tough fight for Reyes. I think Ulberg is going to come out of it with the victory. Here we go. This is the final view of the fight card. If you have any thoughts or picks on who will win their fights, leave them down in the comments. We're keen to hear what you guys say, and we will hopefully slowly improve the production value over time for this.